Moving your worship team from monitor wedges to in-ear monitors can be really tricky, but one thing that makes it way worse is when you have wireless dropouts on your in-ear monitor packs. There's nothing worse than trying to get your mix going, trying to play and sing your best, and suddenly you hear this whoosh or a dropout, and it can totally throw you off. I mean, this is your entire mix. This is not just one input. That was one of the problems they were having with their Shure PSM300 wireless in-ears at a church here in the Kansas City area. To improve the coverage of these wireless in-ear transmitters, I got an antenna combiner from Phenyx Pro Audio. It's the PAS-227X. This takes multiple transmitter signals and combines them into one antenna so they can operate more efficiently and you get less wireless noise from having a lot of individual antennas close to each other. In addition to having fewer antennas that interact with each other and causing more wireless noise, this single antenna gives you more directionality as well compared to the single quarter wave antennas that often comes with these wireless units. So to demonstrate, let me show you how I walked around with the stage, recording the output of this in-ear monitor receiver to see if we could find those spots where we got that whoosh and crackle and dropout. Yes, it took a few minutes to do, but then we installed the system and I got much better results. And after a couple months, they're still having great results over there as well. So we're trying to find interference and get this to crackle. Sometimes it doesn't want to do it on demand. Sometimes it randomly does it and it really hurts. So I'm trying to walk around the stage here, and sometimes you can get it to happen quickly. Sometimes I can't, but the thing is that it happens intermittently and that becomes a big problem. So it's not to the point where things are so bad that it's unusable all the time, but sometimes it'll jump out and surprise you. Let me see if I can get it to crackle for us. Trying to make this crackle. So you can see I'm actually monitoring through my in-ears, and then the output of this is going into my little recorder so I can listen to it and record it at the same time. And I'm trying to get it to pop for everybody so that you can hear the problems that are happening. And they're intermittent. They're not all the time, but when it happens, it's really bad. We're trying. And of course, it doesn't cooperate when you want it to, when you're trying to test stuff out and get it to make the problem happen. I don't know if you've experienced this at your church. You hear somebody talking about a problem. You hear them say, oh yeah, this thing, it happens all the time. You test it out. It works perfect. And it's not that they're different. It's just sometimes things like this are intermittent. Kind of like that light that just came on. So I'm going to keep walking around here and see if I can get it to happen, because I still am getting reports that it's happening. Let me try moving these these transmitters closer together and see if that antenna farm problem becomes a thing. The thing that happens when you have multiple antennas right next to each other is that they kind of resonate with each other in the RF spectrum. Having a bunch of omnidirectional antennas sticking up out of the back of a rack is what's called an antenna farm, and is definitely not best practice. Can it function? Absolutely, but you might run into issues, and you might run into issues at just the wrong time. And again, if it's for somebody's monitor mix, this makes a big difference. So let's see if we can make this get a little bit crunchy and staticky as we walk back and forth on stage. That's not good. So those are the kinds of pops and things we want to avoid. We want it to not do that so that it's not really loud in somebody's ears. Any little bit of interference or really distracting while you're trying to sing and lead worship. So we're going to see what we can do to help this. And if you want to take a look, one of the culprits here is what I call the antenna farm. So without hurting myself, I'm going to stand up here. And you can see we've got all three in-ear wireless transmitters, and we can see that their antennas are right next to each other. This is a bad way to go. So what we're going to do today is fix it with the Phenyx Pro Audio PAS-227X antenna combiner and antenna. So let me show you how it works over here. We're going to come over here, and I'm actually going to switch mics so I don't have to hold this thing the whole time. So hang on. So today I'm going to show you the Phenyx Pro Audio PAS-227X antenna combiner for in-ear monitors. Let's check out the box and see what's inside. So it comes in this nice carrying case. Handy if you got to move it around. Most churches are not though. And inside we've got our antenna cables. So we can move those and you can get those over to the unit. And autofocus is not working today, but that's okay. We've got our actual combiner unit, and it's got those same connections on the back. Then we've got a stand for our antenna, and then under the foam, toss that off. We've got the actual antenna. So this is what actually takes the radio signal and focuses it more in one direction rather than all over the place. That's going to get set up. We've got some connection cables, we've got power, and we've got the stand for the base. So we can put that on there and get that set up. It's nice and compact. So we're going to get all this hooked up and see how it all goes together. So this is how we put all this stuff together. First, I'm going to put the base on here, screw that in. Then one trick I like to use is I will loosen this so that this whole thing can spin. Then I can attach the antenna to the base here just by spinning it in there. That way I don't have to spin the whole thing all the way around. Now I tighten this back down and you can see it gets not very tall. So you'll probably want to put this on something up high, but you know, hey, that's something. It's better than it being on the ground, right? Compact version as well. So we've got that assembled. We're going to take our B and C cables and replace the antennas on our wireless units. I've only got 3 here. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach these. And if you've not used these before, they turn and lock into place. There's a little pin in there and a little divot. So it turns and then pop. Right there. We'll do this 3 times. All right, so these are ready to go. And I would show you up there where it's doing it or where the transmitters are, but there's no light up there. So we've got these set up and then we've got our longer cable. This longer cable is going to go from the antenna right here. So we can pop this on here. And again, it's that same twist on mechanism. Pop there, twist that there. So that's connected. And then this side is going to go to the output or the antenna out. So now the only thing left to do is to connect our antenna outputs on our transmitters to these and connect our power supply, and then we'll see what's going on up there after we power it up. Well, would you look at that? All right, let's go. This is my handy dandy ladder. And I know the light isn't great up here, but that's why we did most of the work down there. So we're gonna set our antenna over here so it's out of the way of the screen. We can set this here, we can get it to power, and then all that's left to do on this side is we detach this antenna output here, this little guy, and this guy here, and this guy here. Get my fingers in there, there we go. And now, it doesn't matter which one we do where, but we'll do it in order for funsies. Gotta use both ends, sorry. All right, so you can see we've got a single antenna on these. These are the Shure PSM 300s, I think. Yeah, these are the PSM 300s. They only have a single antenna output, which is great for this because it only has a single antenna for combining. It's the budget version. We like that because it's nice and cheap. Now, let me get power to this and do our fans. Let's undo our fancy twist tie, and we'll run power over here to our power strip where the rest of the transmitters are plugged in. Time to do our OSHA approved climbing on stools. We'll get over here. And I apologize that you can probably not see anything at all right now, but that's what it's like working in tech. All right, did I actually get it all the way? I don't know, we'll see if that was the one. Hey, we have power. Okay, so it says 16, 15, 14. I'm gonna look in the manual and see what this means. You can see we got the inputs connected. So let me read the manual a little bit and we'll find out what those numbers mean. Okay, so I checked out their website and the numbers on the front with the buttons up and down are adaptive gain. So if you're in a situation where you've got a larger venue and you need to get a little bit more reach with your antennas, then having a higher gain setting is probably better. Here in a smaller room where we actually can have the antenna right up on stage so it's pointing right at the listeners with their in-ear monitors, having a lower gain setting is probably going to be better, and that would be better in an environment where you've got a lot more RF noise as well. So you can move the antenna closer if it's a noisier RF environment, farther away. I've got it all hooked up now. Now let me actually listen and see if it's functioning, because you never know when you try this stuff out. We make sure that it's functioning and make sure that we've got good signal getting to our transmitters. All right, so we got it booted up and it's on and it seems to be working just fine. So we've got good signal left to the right of the stage. I've got it on the off stage side, but really the best way to do this, or the best way to get the best results, is to actually keep the belt pack on the antenna side of your body. So you can see the antennas over here. It would be best to keep the antenna on the left side or in my left pocket if I'm standing on stage singing this way. So let me move that over. That's going to be one best practice that's going to be helpful. The next one is to not have your antenna touching skin. So anytime the antenna touches skin, it grounds in a way that is not really helpful for RF transmission. So we want to make sure that our antenna is not touching skin. If you have to have it clipped on your belt or say under a shirt, make sure that there's an undershirt underneath so that you have an extra layer of protection there to keep that from grounding against your skin. Finally, this doesn't really happen except for like when you're at sound check and people are like messing with stuff. What happens often is people are messing with it and they'll hold their in-ear transmitter right up next to their wireless microphone. And this can cause extra problems. Yeah, you can hear that clicking a little bit. Those two antennas getting really close together, they're actually interfering with one another. So you want to avoid having two antennas really close together. So if you've got a wireless belt pack and a wireless in-ear, say if you've got a guitar rig that's wireless, having those a little bit separated is going to be better than having them right next to each other or right on top of each other. So keep those tips in mind as well. You're going to have a much better experience on stage and hopefully have many fewer wireless problems and dropouts when you have the right antenna facing the right direction and it's combined in a right way so that we're not getting an antenna farm and we're getting that good solid signal. And then even we can keep our transmitters themselves tucked away someplace. They don't have to be out on stage and exposed like that. So if you've got a long enough antenna cable, you can move those transmitters off stage and then just run the antenna cable to the antenna after you have the combiner. In the interest of full disclosure, this is a paid promotion and they sent this unit to me for free, but I'm also installing it in this church for free because I want to help them out and this is a solution that they desperately needed. And I wanted to see, is this really a good budget option for getting an antenna combiner that works really well for 3 or 4 units? The way I look at it is they sent it to me and paid me to install it here. So this church wins and you get the information about my opinions on this unit. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of the video. And if you want to check out the Phenyx Audio PAS-227X, which is a mouthful, you can check it out through the link down in the description below. Thanks again to Phenyx for sending me this, and we'll see you back here in the next one. Don't forget to hit subscribe and mash that thumbs up. And remember, it's all about the low end. Avoid the sound tech solo, and nobody leaves church humming the kick drum. We'll see you back here next time on Attaway Audio.